we'll be talking about our great country, Nigeria. You know, Nigeria was born 1960, and as of today, it's over 64 years old now.
Yeah.
And they say a fool at 40 is a fool forever. But I don't know what a fool at 64. I don't know what a fool at 64 looks like. So it's a country that have gone through a lot of phases. We've had a good time. We've had a not so good time. Unfortunately, the time we are in now actually represents the no good time. Things have turned in an adversary manner to the extent where the trust in government is no longer there. The people no longer trust those they elect into offices to be able to help them. And this story, even though has become very prominent now, doesn't appear to be a story that started yesterday. The story of Nigeria falling from grace to grass has been in the working, I would say principally from since the 1980s. And in the 1990s, appeared to not right the wrong, but attempt to pacify the situation in a manner where we thought there would be hope. And as the civilian government began to gain its root in the democratic Nigeria, things began to go from bad to worse with successive government coming in. So when Obasanjo was the president, it wasn't really good. That was the summation of many people. So when Yaradua came in, people saw it as a better Nigeria. Unfortunately, Yaradua's tenure was short. Goodluck Jonathan took over. People saw Obasanjo government better than Goodluck Jonathan government. Goodluck Jonathan was gone and Buhari came in. We all thought Buhari government would be better. Unfortunately, we now know comparing Jonathan and Buhari, Jonathan government appears to be better. Buhari came, is gone. Tinubu is in charge now. From the little we have seen, I mean, he has done over a year, maybe one and a half years of the fall. And it doesn't appear we are seeing the flash of a light. Not to talk of the actual light at the end of the tunnel. We don't even know, as at the time it finishes, whether there will still be a tunnel. The light will float, will shine through. So successive government has actually made Nigeria worse. So why has Nigeria fallen from grace to grass? That is our question. How do we get to where we are now? You know, because one thing, if we don't know where we are coming from, we may not be able to know where we are going. If we can't determine where we were, how we get to where we are now, we may not be able to swim out of this murky water. So it is important for us to examine, how did we get here? How did we, what are those foundational faults that create, or the foundational fault that were there when the country was founded? How did we manage those faults? And how did we not manage them to the extent that what is supposed to be our strength has become our greatest weakness? You know, studies have indicated that diversity is a big source of strength. It brings a lot of knowledge pool together for us to be able to move forward. You are a Christian, you are a Muslim, you are an imam, you are a bishop, you are educated, you are not so educated, you are a farmer, you are an engineer. Your place is endowed for tropical agriculture. The other parts are endowed for arable agriculture. These diversities that God incorporated into the country Nigeria are supposed to be a source of strength for us. Supposed to be the bedrock of our power. Yet we have used it to damage, to destroy the country. So how did we start this journey
Precious.
of shame, if we have to put it that way? Because every country will want to think Nigeria should be a superpower, a wealthy country. Because we have the potential, the people, the land, the resources. Yet we are a country of beggars, a country of lack and want, a country where we can't determine, we can't be sure that the next meal will be available. It's a country where we no longer talk about 3 square meals. We're just talking about when will the next meal be available. How did we get here? Okay. Catherine.
Okay. Nigeria, as most people always say, it's the giant of Africa. But I don't think they still call us that in Nigeria because of how Nigeria has finally has how Nigeria how we see Nigeria now. It's not like before. So like Nigeria has it has its good years. Let me put it like that. It has its good years and it has its bad years. And one of the major problem of Nigeria is the bad government. I'll put it like that. The bad government. The leaders are not doing well to say. The all they want to do is they want to gain. They mismanage our resources a lot. And with that corruption has made it that in every state now, most people want to be in power just for their own benefit and not for the people. Everybody wants to be in power not for just for what they are going to get and not for the people. The government has really are not helping matters in Nigeria to say. It has contributes greatly in the way Nigeria has fallen. Another reason again is since Nigeria this we have natural resources, we have oil. Nigeria now became very over dependent on this oil we have in our country. So that oil later became a disadvantage to us because the the oil they neglect other things that Nigeria have like agriculture and also setting up things that will grow the country. All they want is oil money, oil money. They left the agricultural sector aside and they just contribute on oil. And another thing that affected how that oil affected Nigeria as a whole is when there's oil spillage and mismanagement of the oil, everything later became difficult for Nigeria because everyone now has his own pipe that they take oil from.
Okay, that's a very nice contribution. And you talked about the oil instead of being a blessing has become a curse
Yes,
for us.
has become a cost to us.
And it's like the oil is the root of corruption in the country.
In the
Yeah.
country.
So that's a very important point you've
Yeah.
made. So Gladys, I don't know if you have some other things to make contribution. I mean, the whole idea of this panel meeting is to actually let people that are not authorities in these various areas to examine the country from their own lens. How did you see this country? Not necessarily from the lens of what you read. You are discussing it based on your own experience. You know, how the progress of this country has impacted you, has either made you better, wealthier, or has made you poorer or impoverished. You know, so this is not it's not an academic or a situation where we want people that are well knowledgeable in political economies coming to tell us uh, how they are frame of the Nigerian society as a or Nigeria as a country. But which I just want to hear from you as individual, as Nigeria has made you, either for good, for better, or so. I don't expect you to be very, very I expect you to just say it the way it affects you, not bending it or making it look academic or making your contribution look sexy also. Just say it the way you see it. Well, you want to say something?
Yes, sir. Well, the way economy has affected me as a person, I would say in the past years, maybe let me say when I was born, we did things that maybe we wish to have in the past year. But looking at today, we barely have things that we used to have before. And I think it's lack of maybe management from the government, or maybe corruption has affected it has affected us in Nigeria. So, and we are always trying to divert or mismanage funds for themselves, trying to keep wealth for themselves, is affecting us. That's the bomb. Me, it has affected me a lot. It has affected the education of our children. Most of our children, some of them don't even go to government schools that are even affordable. Some of them cannot even go there because there are still little expenses that you will need to spend before a child will go to school. You see most of the children walking about not going to school because of economic of Nigeria today. But it wasn't like that before. You will see children trekking from a long distance before to go to school, and they are happy doing it. But now it's different. So I feel the economy of today is really not helping us.
Okay. The next question we will want to look at. Doctor, probably we will need your contribution here. Do you think corruption is a problem in Nigeria? Or if it is, how big do you think the problem it is?
Sir, the truth is, corruption is really a very, very big problem in Nigeria, and the problem is from our government. The whole thing started from them, and the only way out is only God that will help us. Because the truth is, our government, I don't think they are willing to help us. They are not willing to help us at all, and everything depends on them. And the only way out now is if only they can if they can be transparent in all they are doing, and which I believe is very, very difficult for them. They just want to acquire everything to themselves. They want is only them they want to acquire everything to themselves, and not minding what other people are passing through. The truth is we are facing a lot of things in our country now, and nobody is even thinking about the poor people. They want to have everything to themselves. And there's no way we can get out of this except the government help us. And how can they
Okay,
help us?
okay. Let me hear from Gladys on this issue.
Okay, sir. I just want to talk about a different thing. One of the factors that is really affecting us here in Nigeria is religion. You see, religion has set us back. It has taken us back to where we do not expect. Because most of these religious crises we face here in Nigeria, is taking us back, is setting us back, keeping us where we are not supposed to be. Instead of the country to be moving forward, we are always moving backwards, destroying government properties. Even we ourselves, let's be sincere, as individuals, we are not helping matter because the politicians are using us to gain things for themselves. That's just little I wanted to add. So,
Okay. I was going to talk about, I mean, the issue of religion would have come again. But now that you brought it in, let's kind of marry it with the point Dorcas made. You know, it takes two to tango, they say. You know, if you are in a market, for there to be a market, there must be the buyer and there must also be the sellers. So, in terms of corruption, there are people that are probably, will say, are directly and indirectly involved. I would say most of us that complain are part of the problem. And the reason why we complain is because we never had the opportunity to be corrupt. You know, you will see, for example, people that were maybe yesterday looking for bread to eat. Today, they are driving cars that even when they work and save all the money, they will not be able to buy. And if they are our brothers, we begin to brag, that man is my brother, that woman is my sister, just because we see him or her as an asset in our family. You know, each time it comes to the family house or to the family environment, he dole some of those money he or she has stolen to us. And we begin to hail the person, oh, big sister, you know, big auntie, you know, all manner of titles will be given. Let's look at corruption when it comes to election. No one politician that contests election goes snatching ballot boxes. No one politician, even when they get to government, no one politician or those politicians in government go collect the money. They use the poor people around. You know, when they are buying vote, they buy it from the poor people. They don't buy vote from the rich people. So that is why I said we, as you know, the masses generally are as culpable as the leaders. We are as corrupt as the leaders we complain about. You know, that is why I think the reason why we complain is because we don't have access to that corruption. If we have access to that corruption, we will not be complaining. But that is not how it's supposed to be. If we hold our ground to say, look, right things should be done rightly. If they offer us bribe to rig election, if they offer us money to buy our conscience, I think, you just take a pen, walk out. I don't know the last election they did. I don't know how much they gave out because I never actually. If a politician gives you 20,000, just imagine dividing 20,000 by 4 years. If you divide 20,000 by 4 years, you will see that the money you are getting per day may not be enough to make a pot of soup for you. And that is what you have sold your future for 4 years for, and oftentimes for 8 years. So how do we react to that? What is our role in making sure Nigeria rises from grass to grace? How do we come in? What can we do? What is your role? It is not enough for us to begin to point fingers to politicians or people in high offices. What is our role? People that are not in prominent position. What is your role to make sure that this country is turned around? Yeah, Dorcas, we're hearing you.
Okay, so first we'll first look at let's address the issue of security, sir. Addressing security challenges.
Yeah, in what context? How does harvesting,
They should be able to
addressing
implement.
security?
They
How
should
does
be able to.
how does that stop you from being corrupt?
Sir,
How,
if there is security,
oh, the ne-
I believe I'm not saying it will. Are you hearing me?
I'm hearing you.
Okay, I
We're
said
hearing you.
they should implement effective security, sir. I believe with that it will at least reduce the level of corruption. And again, they should invest human capital, promote education and training programs. I believe with all this, it will reduce the level of corruption we have in the country.
Can
Okay,
I?
yeah, sure.
Okay. The only thing is just for us to be true to ourselves about the matter of it. Do we want to sell ourselves for the next 4 years? Create awareness, collecting bribes, and voting for just any leader because he gave you something is wrong. It's just for us to create awareness. Because, funny enough, the thing is that most people don't even have the knowledge of what they are doing. They don't have the knowledge of, I'm selling my vote for just so amount and I'm going to suffer for the next 4 years. Create awareness to them, letting them know of how risky them collecting just 1,000 for them to put their hands on the wrong party or the wrong person is. Because most people, like here in Kaduna, there was let me use Kaduna as a case study. There was an local government election they did in Kaduna, and corruption was all around it. But people, till date, no one has raised alarm or his voice to tackle that issue. There was no election, but results came out, which is very wrong. And the thing is that most people are scared because when you try to come up against them, they lock you up. So most people feel it's, let's just be silent and watch them. But the truth is, we should learn to create awareness to people, educate them, because someone is not even educated, but he's ready to sell his vote for as little as 1,000, 2,000. So when we maybe, I feel one thing we should do to ourselves is create more awareness in your environment or in your area during election time. Or I think we should just set up a a meeting or a little conference for people addressing that issue, making them know the impact it's going to take on their life.
So in other words, education is a
Yes,
problem.
yes.
You know,
Most people are not aware.
illiteracy, either educational illiteracy or political illiteracy is a
Yes,
factor.
is a
In
factor.
terms, yeah, I mean, that could be a factor, but we'll still see people that are educated. For example, most of the electoral umpires at the field level, you know, the presiding officers,
Because
the returning officers, some of them are graduates, some of them are professors. So those people cannot be seen to be,
like what Doc has said, I think maybe when there is a very good security policy that is said, or maybe because some polling units, when you go, you only see just one policeman, and one policeman cannot stand to fight against other people. So when they improve the security,
yeah,
yeah, I just feel
I
they should
appreciate,
mobilize more securities in polling units to avoid such.
yeah, I appreciate that.
Mm.
You see, that is where I still talk about the policeman that will come to disrupt a political process. It's not the policeman at the top. It is the rank and file at the bottom that will do that. You know? So when you're talking about corruption, you're talking about insecurity, we're talking about education. At times, some of this information collide, and also, I mean, at times they collide to make sense of what the situation is. At times, they collide and disperse in a way that they really don't align, you know, to be the real cause of the problem. For example, why will a professor, for you to be a professor, you must be an expert
Yes.
in that area. You would have done a lot of research in that area, apart from your normal academic qualification of holding a PhD or as the case may be. These are people that are corruption laden, writing fictitious results for politicians. So are we saying they are not educated enough? Then there is also the group that at the field level, oftentimes they use coppers. Most of these coppers that are presiding officers, most of them are from humble background. I may be wrong. I can't imagine the son of a governor that is a youth copper serving as a presiding officer because they know there is significant risk involved because of what they would likely do. So all these coppers that are, most of them are from poor homes. So they are educated. Are they not able to pull together and say, look, we are damaging this country. We are damaging our future. It is time for us to arise as compatriots, even though that anthem has been pushed aside. So it is enough for them to say, let us arise as compatriots to make sure we obey the call of the nation by putting things in good order, making sure that nobody comes to rig the election, nobody comes to. But these are things, I mean, it is not uncommon that coppers are given heavy bribe and they turn their face, turn their eye the other side. Yet we complain that politicians are corrupt. So if we look at it from this perspective, we could almost conclude that majority of the problem is we or the so-called people that suffer the effect of these corrupt practices. Because the politicians that win office don't suffer it. They enjoy it. So it is we or the people that are poor, the people that gave them the leeway to manipulate the system, that actually suffer it. So we have identified illiteracy. Illiteracy, I mean, may have variations. I mean, one can be educated and still be illiterate in certain aspect of life. I mean, one could be very educated and also still be a political illiterate. We've talked about insecurity as a problem. But the insecurity, I will say, is a product of corruption. Well, I don't think this security problem, this security challenge will linger forever if we have the right people in government.
Yes.
If we have the right people in government, the insecurity will not continue. There are people in government, there are people in Nigeria that are making money, hell lot of money from the insecurity. So they want it to end.
It's true.
You know, so these are things we look at and we use them to define the trajectory of the country. So if we say, let us look at the way forward, how do we make sure that the Nigeria we have start moving from what it is now to a better one with desire? Okay, Dorcas.
Okay. The government should try to be transparent in what they do. They should promote transparency and ensure accountability to combat corruption that we have in our country. And again, they should promote economic. Hello, sir.
We're hearing you.
Okay, I said
We're hearing.
there should be transparency in government and They should ensure accountability to combat corruption we are facing in our country.
Okay. Kate, you want to say something?
Yes. One of the main, like, how to promote, like how to make Nigeria grow is to have like a diversified economic. We should invest in agriculture. We should develop more industries, and so that it will be able to create job and reduce dependency on mostly imported things. So also the technology in Nigeria should grow rapidly. It's going to help Nigeria greatly, because you find out that because of this lack of industries, we have almost like 10,000 coppers graduating every year, finishing their youth service, and there's no job.
Mm.
So you see, most people fall back. The only thing they can lean on is to go to go and do something very illegal, or also join the corrupt government. Government. So I feel if they improve greatly in that, it's going to help Nigeria grow.
Okay. Gladys, you have something to add to that before we round up?
Yeah. What I have to add is, when we are going to rebuild Nigeria, we require strong leadership, and then we need to be truth to ourselves, and we need to love one another. By loving one another, it will help to rebuild this country, because I see one of the factors that is affecting us in Nigeria is hate for each other. So loving one another will be the first, I feel it will be the first factor to rebuilding.
Okay. We're coming to the end of this program, and all of you have actually made some useful contribution to it. You know, hate is a big issue.
Yes.
Insecurity is a big issue. Distrust is a big issue, and corruption is a big issue. All these put together have dragged us from our enviable positions, positions in the past, to now becoming a laughing stock. The reason why we should not give up: one, Nigeria, majority of Nigerians don't have another country. Even those of us that are outside the country, we still have a strong attachment, a very strong love for the country. You know, more than 80% of my family, no, are in Nigeria. So I cannot close my eyes to see things happening the way it is. It hurts my heart. It grieves my heart. So the only advice I have is for us to continue to speak out, speak truth to power. You don't need to be on the television to speak the truth. What we have said here are issues that are bothering us. It is important that we let people know, we let the government know that this is what is bothering us. And it is also good too that we don't form part of the problem. When we are trying to bring a solution to a problem, let it not be seen that we are also part of the problem. And if we have been part of the problem, it is important for us to turn around, to turn things around and say, look, we have gone this way before, it hasn't worked. Let us retrace our step. You know, we have done politics of salt and palm oil before. It took us nowhere. We've done politics of Nigerian print, bag of rice, and tomato. It has taken us nowhere. We've done politics of buying our votes. It has taken us nowhere. You know, I mean, a classic case. If four of you decided to vote for one candidate, and on the day of election, the four of you voted for one candidate you think will change the whole thing, it will be harder for them. It will be harder for them to fraudulently change the result. I'm not saying it's not possible, but it is harder. So the thing is, if we want a new Nigeria, we that are desiring that new Nigeria should do the right thing rightly. You know, some people will say we do the right thing first. But for me, you have to do the right thing the right way. You know, so that is one way we can turn this country around. You know, if we're not doing the right thing and we just go with the flow, yeah, they are sharing 20,000. Even if they give you 20,000 in one day for your vote, if you split 20,000 for 365 days times 4, you will see the money per day is not even enough for you to make a pot of soup. So that is how we have become impoverished. And I think the best way, the only people that can change this country are not the people that are gaining. It is the people that are losing, that are suffering. These are the people that can turn this country around by taking a step, by taking a stand to say, enough is enough. We've gone this road too long. It has not given us any profit. Let's go the other way. We all know our leaders. Let us not be funny about it. We all know our leaders. We know those that can lead. We know those that will say, I would deliver, and they would deliver. And there are people that will not want to deliver, and we know they cannot even deliver. Yet, because they brought money, the money that may not be enough for us to feed for one day, then we sell our 4 years. We'll sell the the future of our children for that same period. Considering the way things go in Nigeria, except for Jonathan, every president will do 8 years. Imagine the 8 years of Buhari. And if Tinubu continue in this trajectory, imagine his 8 years. Then how do you think Nigeria will look like? How do you think Nigeria would look like?
It will be good.
So these are the things we need to ask, the question we need to ask ourselves. Not just asking ourselves, we also need to answer it, because we know the answers. We know the answers. So it is not enough for us to Tinubu government is terrible. Nothing is working. Insecurity everywhere. The big problem is we, the people.
People.
When it is time for us to choose our leaders, then we remember, oh, he's a Fulani man, he's an Hausa man, he's a Yoruba man, he's an Igbo man. You know? So all these factors put together goes a long way to make us remain where we are now. Because these guys, they are smart. They know, they understand the principle of divide and rule. They know if we are able to make the Hausa man hate an Igbo man, or Igbo man hate a Yoruba man, then they will be good. They know if the Igbo man loves the Hausa man loves the Yoruba man loves the Igbo man, it will be difficult for them. So they use this divide and rule approach for them to be able to have their way. So on this note, I want to say thank you to all of you that have made contributions to this discussion today. And we just hope that the country in Nigeria we are longing for, we will have it. And not just having it, we will benefit from it. Yeah,
Amen.
it can never be too late.
Yes.
You know, when it is only a dead person that doesn't have hope. You know, for the living, there is hope. So we just hope that it will happen in our time. And if it doesn't happen in our time, our children and our children's children should be able to benefit from it. So on that note, I say thank you to everyone. And we have, you have a good afternoon.
Thank you.